Yuan Chu hasn't finished speaking yet. Then he was interrupted by Yi Qinyuan. Master, although I'm not old enough to cover you yet, but I won't let anyone take it away from you either, no matter how strong the opponent is. As long as he dares to come, I dare to fight for you and each other. At this time, these two people, don't forget to sprinkle some dog food. Yi Qinyuan's declaration of desperate protection. Yuan Chu couldn't even say any words of blame for a while. A pair of red eyes looked at him. That look of loss. It was the first time Yi Qinyuan saw it. Actually, I'm not a good teacher. I don't deserve it. How many times have you brought trouble upon yourself? And the apprentice is so young. Always cleaning up the mess for myself. The more I thought about it in the early Yuan dynasty, the more guilty I felt. I almost didn't dare to look into Yi Qinyuan's eyes. And in the thunder of the sky, Yi Qinyuan reached out and touched Yuan Chu's lips. I just said a few words, right? You deserve it. At this moment when the master and the apprentice are talking, the sky thunder overhead has fallen 7 times. And in lane 7, Jun Liuyang's field can no longer hold up. A hole was opened directly by the thunder. Army Liu Yang saw this. The next second just avoided from a distance. Although I feel that my behavior is a bit embarrassing, but this kid's thunder calamity is really weird. Even if I am myself, I won't be much of a threat. If it can be hit, it probably tastes very unpleasant too. Then Jun Liuyang looked in the direction of Yi Qinyuan. Although I have some regrets. At first myself, why didn't you kill this annoying boy first? But it's no big deal. At worst, wait until this thunderstorm is over. I'll just send him to the west again. Think of this. Jun Liuyang directly took back the magic power to maintain the domain. The realm also dissipated. After all, I have no connection with this kid. Why are you driving the field to help him carry the thunder? The field breaks through the 8th lane. The thunder is about to fall. Yi Qinyuan made a prompt decision. I will immediately take the master into the Z bead. In the early Yuan dynasty, I felt bad when I saw this. Because of my little apprentice's temperament. He must have wanted to receive himself into the Z bead first. Then I carried it outside alone. At the beginning of Yuan dynasty, he just wanted to step forward to stop Xiao Yuan. But the words are not finished yet. In the next second, he entered directly into the Z bead. Yi Qinyuan looked at the Z bead in his hand. Even though I know I do it, the master will definitely blame himself. But I don't regret it. If you live, the master is naturally the safest inside the Z bead. But if you die, that master will become the next owner of Z beads. Who wants to die if he can live? Yi Qinyuan is no exception, especially when there is someone you love in your heart. Then he opened all the lightning sheaths on his body. When the 8th thunder calamity falls, try your best to absorb the power of thunder contained in it, and store it in. But Lei Jie's power is too powerful, even if Yi Qinyuan desperately absorbs. But it's still a drop in the bucket. The rest of the energy hit his body crazily. That severe pain let Yi Qinyuan, who has always been firm-minded. They couldn't help but scream. This moment let Yi Qinyuan feel the approach of death. But he still relied on the belief in his heart. Supported, I haven't asked my master to agree to marry me yet. How could I die here? At least I can't die in front of this guy. Jun Liuyang in the distance saw that Yuan Chu was missing. Then I guessed it was that kid, hidden the beginning of the Yuan dynasty in mess and space. Think of this. He looked at Yi Qinyuan with evil intentions. A wisp of black, evil energy suddenly appeared in the palm of my hand. This is my natural demonic energy. Just get inside that kid's body. Then he will die violently. Then Jun Liuyang blew forward. That aluminum demonic energy is straight. Floated straight towards Yi Qinyuan. This time Yi Qinyuan's situation is very pessimistic. Even the strongest faith in my heart cannot withstand such a good situation. And the lightning sheath on my body is about to reach saturation. Yi Qinyuan also knew the dangers of his own tribulation, so he's going to do it again. Forcefully open another lightning scabbard. The lightning sheath has just opened a small slit. Jun Liuyang's demonic energy penetrated directly into it. Fill it up instantly. And Yi Qinyuan, who had demonic energy entering his body. It was not as Jun Liuyang thought. Exploded to death. I just vomited a big mouthful of blood. Jun Liuyang waited for a long time. I haven't seen Yi Qinyuan explode and die yet. Can't help but feel a little strange. What's going on with this kid? Why haven't you hung up yet? Is it not enough? Later, Jun Liuyang did not believe in evil again. Once again, he released a wisp of his own demonic energy. Floated towards Yi Qinyuan. As the evil spirit enters the body again, Yi Qinyuan is still not, as Jun Liuyang thought, violent death, just looks paler. At this time he lowered his head, eyes closed, long black hair, flying in the purple lightning and black magic energy. And the Z beads in the body. It seems that I have been stimulated by something. A strange shining light floated in front of Yi Qinyuan. Jun Liuyang saw that Yi Qinyuan had not yet died violently. Just hit it right away. The demonic energy in the body is like not wanting money, continuously delivering to Yi Qinyuan. He doesn't believe it. So much demonic energy goes away. This guy is not dead yet. What Jun Liuyang doesn't know is, he wanted to hasten Yi Qinyuan's death, but he inadvertently helped him. With the infusion of demonic energy reaching a critical point. Let this happen in the Thunder Tribulation. Yi Qinyuan, who was already dying at this time, suddenly opened his eyes, and his pupils turned strange dark red again. Yi Qinyuan then glanced at Jun Liuyang. Just a glance. This made all the hairs on Jun Liuyang's body stand up. For the first time in my life, I had the instinct to run. Although unbelievable. But Jun Liuyang still believes in his feelings. However, it seems that it is too late for Jun Liuyang to run away now. Yi Qinyuan turned the demonic energy in his body into silk thread. Gradually entangled in Jun Liuyang. Feeling my body. When you are out of your control. Jun Liuyang's eyes opened slightly. Seems very unbelievable. In particular, feeling the demonic energy wrapped around myself. So familiar. This is obviously what I lost to the opponent before. This feeling of having power beyond one's control. Jun Liuyang became slightly panicked. In particular, when Yi Qinyuan moved him in front of him. Looking in front of you. An ant that I can crush to death with just one hand. At this time, Yi Qinyuan was in Jun Liuyang's eyes. Looks very scary. And that fear is caused by the unknown. What do you want to do? Yi Qinyuan looked at Jun Liuyang. There is a hint of satisfaction in the eyes. In that body covered with bruises. The sound is very hoarse, but it has a deep meaning. Distracted body hum. What is shield? Jun Liuyang heard what Yi Qinyuan said. Although I don't know what the other party wants to do. But I had a vague feeling that something was wrong. What does anger threaten? Shield, you better let go of me right away. Otherwise, I will make your death ugly. Jun Liuyang's fierce threat. It has no effect on Yi Qinyuan at all. Instead, it made him smile even more. You'll soon know what a shield is. Then Yi Qinyuan moved his fingers slightly. Directly control Jun Liuyang to move above him. Yi Qinyuan did this. His intention is unknown. Jun Liuyang is not a fool either. Of course I understand what he is going to do. Suddenly he gritted his teeth. How dare you use me? Blocking the thunder catastrophe immediately follows. The next thunderstorm. He directly chopped it down with 1 or 2 thunderbolt martial arts skills. It hit Jun Liuyang directly. Let him who was still having sex at this moment shut up instantly. That numbing feeling of thunder and lightning entering the body. Although it can't cause him any harm. But it still made him feel hairy all over his body. Compared to Jun Liuyang's embarrassment. Yi Qinyuan under him. It seemed very comfortable at this time. After all, there is such a personal filter. Lei Jie's remaining power hit Yi Qinyuan. He can still bear it. Jun Luyang. Even though I am now like a lamb waiting to be slaughtered. But it's not impossible if you want to leave. After all, it's still a distraction to cultivate one's abilities. Finally, after enduring several thunderstorms, it took some effort to untie the demonic shackles on my body. When the bonds are released, Jun Luyang was very happy. But when he was leaving, was surprised to find, on demonic energy, he actually got connected with the other party's demonic energy. And that weird connection, he couldn't cut it off. At this time, Yi Qinyuan below. I also noticed Shanjuan Lu Yang's little moves. But he doesn't care at all. The reason for this situation is that Yi Qinyuan didn't know why in his mind just now. Suddenly a martial arts technique appeared. And although the effect of this martial art is quite incredible, but the conditions are indeed a bit harsh. If it weren't for Jun Luyang holding the sword just now, lost his own demonic energy into Yi Qinyuan's body. Help him open the magic door. He won't make himself look like this now. Over time, Jun Luyang just broke free from the evil spirit, wrapped around the body again, and this time it's getting tighter and tighter. This weird situation is why Jun Luyang has lived for so long. Never seen him. He was going crazy at this time. Why is the other party just for the same reason? But you can strangely control him. But next, Jun Luyang has no time to think about this problem. The next thunderstorm strikes down. Its power can actually make him feel pain. This can't help but make Jun Luyang the devil for so long. It's the first time I've ever felt such hatred towards someone. You damn bastard. May I have your name? I will definitely crush you to ashes. But Lei Jie keeps falling. Jun Luyang knew he could not escape. Immediately afterwards, I could only use my own magic weapon to resist. But as the magic weapon is exhausted, at the end, Jun Luyang had no choice but to use his own body. Come and help Yi Qinyuan block Lei Jie. But Lei Jie's power is stronger each time. Even if Jun Luyang didn't die, he wouldn't be much better. In the thunderstorm, his angry curses, it almost drowned out the thunder in the sky. With the last stroke of thunder tribulation, Jun Luyang can no longer curse at this moment. In that period before, Yi Qinyuan below used unexpected magic energy too. He recovered a lot of his body. Looking at the last thunderstorm that is about to fall above, Yi Qinyuan knew this last one. He has to carry it himself. Then he took back all the demonic energy in his body. Jun Luyang at this time, already exhausted from being beaten by Lei Jie. The moment Yi Qinyuan let go, just free fall, hit the ground hard. But when falling, Jun Luyang is still giving it to Lei Jie in the sky, constantly taking care of. Jun Luyang fell to the ground. Although the whole body, he was struck by lightning and couldn't even move his little finger. But the murderous aura in his whole body was almost solidified at this time. If looks could kill, Yi Qinyuan in midair, I've probably been killed thousands of times. Hundreds of years. I've always been the only one who kills people. No one has ever made me so miserable. I want to kill him. I must kill him. Yi Qinyuan will naturally stop caring about Jun Luyang now. After all, he's just a tool man. And he's still a tool who wants to kill himself. What the hell does he do? At this time, he was undergoing the last one. It is also the baptism of the most powerful lightning disaster. But fortunately, before, when Jun Luyang helped to block the lightning disaster, Yi Qinyuan repaired most of his body. Although this last thunder disaster is very terrifying, but Yi Qinyuan has nothing to be afraid of. Although the whole body is covered with lightning sheaths, stretched to the extreme in a thunderstorm. The wound that happened before, it was also broken apart again. And in this extremely painful baptism, Yi Qinyuan's face didn't show any pain at all. Instead, he laughed. It's great to be one step closer to the master. The Yuanchu who was sent in by Yi Qinyuan before in Z-beat. I don't know what's going on outside. At this time, he was like an ant on a hot pot. But no matter how anxious I am, in the early Yuan dynasty, there was no intention to forcefully break open the Z-beat. Over time, the anxiety and worry in Yuan Chu's heart gradually turned into fear. Sat down. The whole person suddenly became intrigued, started to think wildly. Xiao Yuan, is he already dead? After all, even if he invites lightning disaster, just like the last micro-upgrade, use thunder tribulation to defeat the army Liu Yang. But the reason this time, thunder tribulation, it must be more dangerous than the last Jinan thunder tribulation. How could he survive so many thunderstorms alone? And if nothing unexpected happens in this thunderstorm, definitely the highest 72 tracks. Xiao Yuan's sudden catastrophe this time. Nothing is prepared. Will it be the same as other bloodlines of the God Emperor? Killed by lightning. I thought of this in the early Yuan dynasty. The more I think about it, the sadder I feel. Tears flow more and more. It's like no money. Then I started crying loudly. If Xiao Yuan died, what should I do? Yi Qinyuan had to deal with Lei again before. Jay has to deal with it again. Jun Liu Yang is highly concentrated. Plus the thunder in the sky. Yi Qinyuan did not hear the crying in the Z-beat. After the thunderstorm ends, Yi Qinyuan was seriously injured again. The whole person almost fainted. Close your eyes and accept the baptism of the holy light after the thunder. When Yi Qinyuan opened his eyes again, the body has recovered to its peak. But he hasn't had time to feel it yet. The powerful power behind the reason for your promotion. And that brand new body tempered by the sky thunder. The cry coming from the stone sea made him stunned for a moment. In the next second, he entered directly into the Z-bead. But before meeting the master, he first cut himself into tatters. The clothes were changed into brand new ones. Then Yi Qinyuan saw a person in the distance, sitting on the ground pitifully, crying so sad. This made him panic immediately. Go forward quickly. Master, what's wrong with you? I heard the voice of my little apprentice in the distance, opening his eyes and looking at the intact little apprentice in front of him. The next second, I threw myself directly into his arms. He quickly hugged him tightly. Wow, brother. In the early Yuan dynasty, Xiao Yuan cried too much for too long. He also cried and burped while talking. This traitor is still alive. Why didn't you say anything just now? Think about it this way. Yuan Chu cried even more sadly. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he looked like he was going to cry to heaven. It really shocked Yi Qinyuan. He thought he would see his master again. The master will angrily teach him a lesson. I didn't expect this scene. Suddenly I was in a hurry. Heart-wrenching pain. Master Yi Qinyuan's words have just been spoken. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he stopped him with a fierce look. Don't call me master. But Yuan Chu's hands were still holding Yi Qinyuan's waist. Crying there. This made Yi Qinyuan suddenly feel embarrassed. He really hopes that the master can stand here. Teach him a harsh lesson. I don't want the master to cry in his arms either. After thinking for a moment, Yi Qinyuan pursed his lips. Said that Chu. Ku Yuan Chu said fiercely. Who allowed you to call me that? Then he started crying again. Yi Qinyuan looked at the master like this. Although I feel sad, but extremely satisfied, because he knows that the master is worried about him. I cried because I was worried about myself. That's great. Then Yi Qinyuan thought about it again. Then stick it in place. I'll poke you in the ear. This title. Yi Qinyuan's heart has been silent for a long time. Say it today. I don't know if the master will accept it. Such a disgusting name. Naturally, the current Yuan dynasty cannot accept it. I heard my little apprentice call that. I suddenly felt a chill. I can't even cry anymore. Then he angrily let go of Yi Qinyuan and wiped his tears. But those tears are not so easy to wipe away. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, there were still tears on my face. But still make yourself look as evil as possible. Said harshly. Who asked you to lock me in the Z bead? Yi Qinyuan saw his master like this. What should I explain when I just open my mouth? Sorry about the second grade of junior high school. At the same time, I reached out and wanted to hug the master again. I first heard my little apprentice call me that again. First a slap. Slapped the opponent's outstretched hand away. At the same time, Zhao Mao said, "You are not allowed to call me the second grade of junior high school. Do you think you're interfering in singles like this? Can you avoid the topic?" No door. Yi Qinyuan saw this. I know my name? It's too early now. Okay, master. I didn't lock you up before. Aren't I afraid that you will get hurt? In Yi Qinyuan's explanation. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he was not satisfied. His whole little face was as angry as a little pufferfish. A pair of big round eyes stared at him. So in your heart, just think, your master is a useless burden when trouble comes. Who allowed you to protect me? Have you asked me? Yi Qinyuan will uphold a lot of things at this time. The principle of saying how many mistakes you make is very sensible, and he didn't speak. He was smiling and nodding silently at the side. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he said a harsh word at the end. You disrespect my wishes so much. I'll never talk to you again. If it weren't for the tears still hanging on my face at this time in the early Yuan dynasty, 2 eyes are red. These words are still very intimidating. But even so, at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, the whole person still looked fierce and fierce. Yi Qinyuan looked at Yuan Chu. Now he looks like this cute little guy throwing a tantrum. Couldn't help laughing. It's so good. Master just said to ignore me this time. Master was so angry last time. But you just said you don't want me anymore. Prove it. Master is approaching me again. In the early Yuan dynasty, I saw Yi Qinyuan being so serious. Laughed. The anger in my heart suddenly grew stronger, directly overcoming the previous grievances. My little fist suddenly clenched tightly, ready to move. But the little apprentice was still struggling on the line of life and death before. It seems inappropriate to teach him a lesson now. I thought of this in the early Yuan dynasty. Then he immediately turned around and went back to his room. Let yourself be alone for a while. But Yuan Chugang didn't take 2 steps. He was caught by Yi Qinyuan. Yi Qinyuan was about to say something when he opened his mouth. Yuan Chu is now. I don't want to listen to what this traitor has to say anymore. Then he said, don't touch me, and continued to move forward. Seeing the traitor and not letting go, Yuan Chu turned around and pushed him. Yi Qinyuan's direct and scheming performance. Falling on the spot. Down. In 1 second, he accidentally pounced on Yuan Chu. At the moment when he was thrown to the ground in the early Yuan dynasty, still stunned for a moment. After reacting, he called Yi Qinyuan directly by his first name and surname. Yi Qinyuan heard Yuan Chu call him that. Laughed out loud. Master, this is the first time you call my name like this. Then Yi Qinyuan suddenly put away his smiling face. His expression gradually became serious. Master, there is something I must confess honestly. In the distance, Yi Qinyuan suddenly pushed him to the ground. This made the original quite angry. At this time, it's like adding fuel to the fire. Slowly rising up, but look at this rebel suddenly so serious. Still can't contain my curiosity. Asked, what do you want to explain? Yi Qinyuan thought about it for a moment. My previous experiences. He said, dully, Master. I find that every time I'm on the verge of death, there is always a power within me that does not belong to me. Getting ready to move. Unknown power always scares people, especially since the power is not under my control yet. Yi Qinyuan also discovered that power is when you are weak. It doesn't feel very obvious yet, but as his strength continues to grow, it's getting more and more serious. And just like just now I was sure, in one's own memory, I have definitely never learned the art of rebirth. But when Zhu Luyang used his demonic energy to attack him secretly, not only am I fine, you can also take the opportunity to plant this forbidden technique on the opponent. Yi Qinyuan's words stunned Yuan Shu. He quickly stretched out his hand to find out his spiritual power. Carefully inspected the young apprentice's body in all aspects. However, nothing was found. This made Yuan Shu frown. But suddenly Yuan Shu seemed to think of something, said with some uncertainty. Is it because that year, the reason why I left a seal in your body? Back then, Yi Qinyuan had just entered Wanjian sect. In order to get first place in the sect competition, become a teacher, after listening to Li Lao's instigation, forcefully open the bloodline. As a result, I almost lost my life. To save him, in the early Yuan dynasty, it could only be on Yi Qinyuan, 108 demon seals left behind. But as Yi Qinyuan's strength strengthens, the seal is gradually being unlocked. Although this is a bit confusing, can't stand the horse's mouth. But the two people present now, I really can't think of any better explanation. Yi Qinyuan thought for a while, then nodded. Maybe. Yi Qinyuan agrees. But there was a voice in his heart telling him, not so. And after this tribulation, see the master again. Yi Qinyuan didn't know why he looked at the master in front of him. It feels like 1,000 years at a glance. It seems like they were there a long time ago. I already know myself. It's blurry now. You can see what the master will look like in the future. Although the statement before the early Yuan dynasty is far-fetched, but it's not entirely wrong. That's almost half right. In addition to the demon seal he had placed in Yi Qinyuan's body before, and when we were in the secret realm of Fengxiao Kingdom, the memory of the past life was reawakened by a mysterious man, sealed again. As strength increases, maybe Yi Qinyuan will break through a few more realms. Memories will also return. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he then carefully checked twice. Found nothing happened. I won't delve into it anymore. After all, my little apprentice is still fine now. Just put down my hand. Suddenly, I remembered that I was still angry. Then he snorted heavily. You're not pretending, are you? Don't think that I will forget you. Leave me alone in times of crisis. What will you do this time? Next time, too. I don't want to care about you anymore. After Yuan Shu said that, he turned around and ran away. However, Yi Qinyuan quickly took him into his arms. Master, do you want to live and die with me? Yuan Shu was stunned for a moment when he heard this. When there is danger, master protects apprentice. Isn't that what a master should do? Why does it sound so wrong coming out of his mouth? At the beginning of Yuan dynasty, he thought about it and muttered, no matter what, someone will hit you later. I'll just hide aside. Save yourself from being locked up again. Yi Qinyuan looked at the master like this. I understand that the master's anger has almost dissipated. Then he buried his head on Yuan Shu's neck. He said a little tiredly, Master, let me lean on you for a while. A little sleepy. Meeting my little apprentice in the early Yuan dynasty. He looks really tired, although I really want to continue to get angry. But I still endured it. But suddenly I thought of something. Asked, by the way, where is Zhu Luyang? Yi Qinyuan chuckled after hearing this. He's probably still lying on the ground now. Are you quietly admiring the sky there? I won't be able to get up for a while. And if it weren't for Yi Qinyuan's current lack of strength, cannot cause damage to distracted limbs. Zhu Luyang has now become the food of spiritual beasts. Listen from a distance, shocked instantly. At the same time, I was a little speechless. Reason, dry and distracted. I feel like I am about to lose my job as a master. Although I don't know, how did the young apprentice lay down the military foreign bomb? But I thought about it. although the other party can't move now. But there is nothing I can do about the other party. Then he said seriously that it should not be delayed. Let's leave quickly. Yi Qinyuan will leave Wanjian sect now. I completely let go. And after experiencing a life and death crisis, at this moment, I just want to stay by Yuanchu's side, holding Yuanchu slowly. Just don't let go. No, I want to sleep some more. Yuanchu looked in front of him. Yi Qinyuan will be like a golden retriever. It feels like I'm being treated like a big pillow. Suddenly, I felt unhappy, protested and said, let me go quickly. Go to the Empire and sleep again. Yi Qinyuan snorted uncomfortably. Then he raised his head and tail and looked at Yuan Chu eagerly. What should I do if the Imperial Master is angry and won't let me sleep? Yuan Chu just wants to leave quickly now. Hurry up and leave this place of right and wrong. He blurted out his words directly and sold himself completely. Let you sleep, let you sleep. Let's go now. After getting Yuan Chu's consent, Yi Qinyuan is even more presumptuous. The whole person pounced on Yuan Chu again. I rubbed it comfortably, a satisfied look on the square face. No matter how hard I try to hide it, I can't hide it. Since being intercepted by Jun Luyang, there will be no obstacles in the journey between the master and the apprentice. The journey back to the Empire was uneventful. Calculate the time. It just so happens that the day after tomorrow is the fake Ding Qingyan. This made Yuan Chu breathe a sigh of relief. I thought I was stopped by Jun Luyang like this. Will I miss this good show? As soon as the two came back, they went directly to the college, but just walked to the gate. In front of the college, at this moment, there was an unexpected person standing there. It doesn't look like it's a coincidence, but I've been waiting here for a long time. And it was Gu Chinka who was standing at the door. In the past few days, he had been urged by Yi Tianxiu every day. Let's see if Yi Qinyuan is back. Seeing that Ding Qingyan's time is almost up, this made him more and more anxious these days. See, Yi Qinyuan is finally back. Immediately relieved. Immediately act like a normal person. He greeted me with a smile on his face. Brother Qinyuan, you are finally back. Yi Qinyuan saw the other party walking towards him. First, he pulled the master behind him. Then he responded with a cold face. You are waiting for us. Gu Chinka saw Yi Qinyuan behind him. Mu Chinga, who has changed from his original place. Why does it look so unpleasant? So, I only talked to Yi Qinyuan at this time. I thought you wouldn't be able to come to the engagement party the day after tomorrow. Why did it take you so long to go back this time? At the same time, I can't help but feel a little strange inside. Why? Huang Changsun is so eager to find Yi Qinyuan. He actually let me, the nominal fiancé, waiting for him at the gate of the college every day. Could it be that there is something on Yi Qinyuan? It's what Huang Changsun wants. I have to say, sometimes random thoughts can really touch the truth. And the rescuer who was pulled behind by Yi Qinyuan. At this time, I was also stunned for a moment. Especially now. This atmosphere is as strange as it needs to be. Yi Qinyuan followed. He smiled at Gu Chinka extremely abnormally. Looks like he's holding back some bad move. I remember things. As for why it took me so long to go back. Yi Qinyuan was talking. Suddenly, he pulled Yuan Chu behind him to his side. With a puzzled expression at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty. He said it was because we went back to get married. As soon as Yi Qinyuan finished speaking, at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, I was shocked for a moment. Two eyes widened. In my heart, there are 100,000 grass and mud horses running wildly. What's going on? I'll get married soon. Xiao Yiye didn't discuss it with me either. Compared with the original surprise, Gu Chinka was. It's more unbelievable. After some inner struggle, he finally decided to give up on Yi Qinyuan. No more illusions about him. Prepared to marry Huang Changsun. After all, the emperor's eldest grandson has a distinguished status. most suitable for him. Then Gu Chinka forced out a smile. He said dryly, I really wish you all the best. If you have anything else to do, leave first. The engagement party the day after tomorrow. We'll see you there or not. Gu Chinka finished speaking. He left without looking back. It looks like he doesn't want to stay here for a second. Yi Qinyuan looked at Gu Chinka's retreating figure. He smiled and said that it seemed that Yi Tianxu was very anxious. Otherwise, Gu Chinka is a young lady. And she's also his fiancée, in name only. I won't wait here anymore. When it's over. In the distance, my head is still full of confusion. Turning to look at Yi Qinyuan, a pair of big eyes full of confusion. Xiao Yuan, why did you say we were married just now? The reason why Yi Qinyuan said that. Naturally, he has his own little thoughts. But I saw my master looking at me longingly. He looked like he really wanted to know. I think the current master is so cute. Then he explained, silly girl. Then we will go to the palace. If we were an unmarried couple, they will definitely arrange 2 rooms for us. If we are already married, that's 1 room. We will live together then. You are by my side. I can rest assured. In the early Yuan dynasty, this passage by Yi Qinyuan, I was stunned for a while, but seeing how my little apprentice can think so far ahead. Immediately convinced. Clench your little fists and promise, don't worry. I will remember that we are husband and wife in the future. Such unintentional words in the early Yuan dynasty make Yi Qinyuan feel sweet. Watching the master grow up day by day, Yi Qinyuan feels that the time is almost here. Wait until this time, the emperor's eldest grandson's wedding banquet. I have to express my feelings to the master. Thinking of the scene after getting married, Yi Qinyuan's eyes couldn't help but light up. Then Chao Yuanchu stretched out his hand. Okay, let's go home together. Seeing this in the early Yuan dynasty, he quickly handed over his hand. 2 people walking in the college. With their good looks, it's a beautiful scenery. Not long after Yi Qinyuan and Yuan Chu returned to the dormitory, the dean, who has also been waiting in the college for a long time, after learning that Yi Qinyuan was back, he immediately called the other party into his office. In the office, the dean looked at Yi Qinyuan in front of him. There was an expression of disapproval on his usually majestic face. Are you back? If you never come back, it is estimated that everyone from Suma's family will live in the college. They thought you were on your way back to visit relatives. Something unexpected happened. Send someone to your door every day. All I asked was one thing. I'm just asking if you're back. The dean also feels the same way. I'm planning to go out to find someone soon. Yi Qinyuan is listening. After the dean complained, Dean of Xingli Road, don't worry, I will definitely do what I promised. And I'm not going back this time for anything else. Mainly to improve your cultivation level. Yi Qinyuan said this. The dean then explored Yi Qinyuan's cultivation. Wei Ke's probing moment made the dean's eyes widen. If you don't tell me, I haven't discovered it yet. The reason why your current level of cultivation is actually reached. In the early days, I couldn't help but secretly guess. This guy has only been gone for 3 months, even upgraded to 3 levels. What was he doing? It's impossible for someone to cultivate their own abilities. Give him enlightenment. Yi Qinyuan saw the dean's shock. He said that he just went to the secret realm to experience something. Then he will describe the process of his training in the secret realm. I briefly talked about it. Although Yi Qinyuan said it lightly, but the dean heard that the other party was in the secret realm. I actually practiced hard for a month. I have a higher opinion of him in my heart. After all, although the intention of cultivating immortality, talent, and family background are important, but willpower is also indispensable. It can be said to be particularly important. After all, sometimes the only one you can rely on is yourself. And being able to be alone in a secret place day after day, year after year of practice. This shows that Yi Qinyuan's willpower is extremely terrifying. Although the dean was extremely satisfied with Yi Qinyuan, even highly rated, but he didn't say it. He just reminded Yi Chunyuan with a serious expression. Well, penance is good, but enough is enough. To prevent the foundation from being unstable. Leave hidden dangers in the future. Yi Chunyuan nodded after listening. Students remember the teachings. The dean looked at Yi Chunyuan, who looked neither humble nor arrogant. Calm and measured. I feel more and more. Yi Chunyuan and his father are not like princes. Because of the relationship between skills and identity. Indifferent and proud. Don't know how to be humble and tactful. On the contrary, Yi Chunyuan was not only more diligent and hardworking than him, and more talented. More importantly, he knows how to be a human being. This also shows that he must have suffered a lot when he was a child. Thinking of this, the dean then walked to Yi Chunyuan, patted him on the shoulder. Xiaoyuan, you are very good. Better than your father. If he is still alive, I will definitely be proud of you. Yi Chunyuan looked indifferent. He has no feelings for this father he has never met. Without any feelings, there's just one thing he's very curious about. Dean, you said before, the prince has practiced the art of worshipping the gods. The dean nodded, looking very serious, said with some regret, yes, that is a god-level technique. After practicing, my cultivation has improved rapidly. It's a pity that nothing comes without a price. No matter how outrageous things are, all have disadvantages. Yi Chunyuan then looked weird, considered for a moment, but he still asked, since the dean has practiced the art of worshipping the gods, doesn't that mean giving up the 7 emotions and 6 desires? Since there is no desire, then how could I be there? This makes Yi Chunyuan feel very incredible. But in my own case, he is standing here alive at this time. But the prince has a distinguished status after all. Probably no one in the entire empire can force him. Is it to keep fire for the royal family? So I force myself. The dean saw Yi Chunyuan mention this. His face suddenly became a little embarrassed. Really want to know? Yi Chunyuan saw the dean say this. I knew the dean must be one of the insiders. Then nodded. Although the dean was a little embarrassed when he saw this. But the guy in front of me is not an outsider either. After all, it is the product of the two of them. It seems that there is nothing wrong with letting him know. It's just that these words are really hard to say. The dean hesitated for a long time. That always sharp look. At this time, they were a little afraid to look at Yi Chunyuan. But then he gritted his teeth and said it. That's because of your father. I was given the soul-stimulating incense by your mother for 3 days to ensure conception. Your mother also imprisoned your father for more than a month. No one knows what happened. Anyway, after they came out, then there was you. Yi Chunyuan finished listening. The whole person was shocked instantly. He didn't expect. Own mother. He is such a straightforward person. Then Yi Chunyuan calmed down. I didn't ask any more questions. After all, it will be a tragedy no matter what happens next. He has already heard of one in Wanjin's sect. I don't want to hear the second one. And no matter what, I won't care about their footsteps. Yi Chunyuan. Later, I chatted with the dean about Ding Qingyan. After chatting and leaving, we also went to Sumu separately. After the two families appease each other, then returned to the college, waiting for the beginning of Ding Qingyan. And 3 days go by in a blink of an eye. The day came when we decided to settle down with Qingyan. Gu Qingqing invited a lot of people, not only the royal family and nobles. Even the teachers and students of the college received invitations. Gu Qingqi, one of the protagonists. I saw the lively scene. Doesn't look happy at all. Just feel bored. This Dingqing banquet. I guess the only thing that can make Gu Qingqi happy is. Huang Changsun once said, he will attack Mu Qingca at the Dingqing banquet. But Yi Tianxiu just mentioned it symbolically. He didn't tell Gu Qingca any detailed plan. And the day has finally arrived. Gu Qingca thought of the original face. My heart suddenly felt itchy like a cat scratching it. Then he went directly to Yi Tianxiu to check his voice. This time the experienced determination hasn't started yet. Yi Tianxiu as the protagonist. He is still in his room at this time. Gu Qingke just arrived in front of Yi Tianxiu's room. Suddenly, I heard Yi Tianxiu's voice coming from inside. This time I can only succeed. No failure allowed. Do you understand? Just when Gu Qingqi felt strange. When I still want to continue listening. The people in the room seemed to feel something. Immediately afterwards, Yi Tianxiu suddenly opened the door with a bang. Looking at Gu Qingke, who was standing outside the door at this time. Although Yi Tianxiu, wearing red dress, but the sound quality on that face can't be suppressed. He said coldly, "What did you hear?" Although Gu Qingqi knew that Yi Tian needed to deal with Yi Qinyuan, but look at the other person like this. Things don't seem that simple. But no matter when, knowing too much never ends well. Although Gu Qingqi had doubts, but I still shook my head. I just came here. What are you talking about? Yi Tianxiu winked first. Let everyone in the room go out first. Then he took Gu Qingke's hand, took him to the room. It's nothing but a lesson to Yi Qinyuan. Why did you come to me at this time? Do you miss me? Yi Tianxiu suddenly said such disgusting words. It makes Gu Qingke a little bit unbearable. The next second, he pushed Yi Tianxiu's hand away. After all, I had been with Yi Tianxiu before. Always behaved. This sudden change. Gu Qingke couldn't accept it for a while. In Yi Tianxiu's opinion, Gu Qingke's behavior. Just despise myself. After being stunned for a second, his face suddenly darkened. Some people said angrily, "When you marry me, don't you mean that you will have 2 divorces? What are you so nervous about?" Gu Qingke also knew. What I just did was really inappropriate. So he quickly said in a low voice, "Your Highness, calm down. I just remembered that His Highness has not inspired the bloodline yet. It would be better not to say this after Gu Qingke said it. Isn't this a clear expression? You haven't inspired your blood yet. You can't touch me now." Yi Tianxiu heard what the other party said, squinted his eyes. Suddenly he reached out and hugged Gu Qingke. "I haven't inspired my blood yet. I can't touch you. If I want, give it to me now." Gu Qingqi listens. Then he started struggling. I quickly wanted to push him away. Because he knows. The other party doesn't just talk. He will definitely do this. Get off me. I'm not a casual woman. As soon as Gu Qingke said this, Yi Tianxiu grabbed his hand and pushed hard. The expression on his face also became a little ferocious. It's up to you to touch me however you want. Then Yi Tianxiu pushed forward suddenly. Gu Qingke. The whole person fell directly onto the big bed behind him. Immediately afterwards, Shanshin began to take off Gu Qingqi's clothes. While taking off the baby, he groaned and said, "No, no. It's still early, and there's still time for us to have in-depth discussions. Since we are going to be husband and wife soon. Just give it to me. Of course, if you don't want to, you can call someone now. I also want to see if you really want to marry me." Gu Qingke heard what Yi Tianxiu said. Everyone was completely panicked. Sure enough, curiosity killed the cat. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have come here to ask about the plan. I haven't asked about the plan now. I will be forced to show up again. Then Gu Qingke began to struggle desperately. But even so, he still suppresses himself. Didn't let myself cry out. Yi Tianxiu looked under him. Gu Qingke, who was struggling desperately at this time, seeing the other party being so unhappy. Yi Tianxiu immediately became angry. Not only does the whole person's face look gloomy, even the air pressure all over my body has dropped. And Yi Tianxiu has not forgotten the secret comfort report before. It is said that Gu Qingqi has feelings for Yi Qinyuan. It would be better if this kind of thing was not discovered. Once discovered, even a man can't accept it. However, Yi Tianxiu still endured it without having an attack. Just because Gu Qingke couldn't touch him. Just respect him. But what Gu Qingke said before successfully let Yi Tianxiu break through the defense. At the same time, the resentment towards Yi Qinyuan in my heart became even deeper. If it weren't for Yi Qinyuan's blood, he would be the blood of the God Emperor. There is no need for me to be so passive now. Go to great lengths. You even have to risk your life in exchange for it. At this time, Gu Qingke discovered. Yi Tianqiu above him actually stopped moving at this time. Next second, directly and subconsciously pushed Yi Tianqiu aside. Then he stood up and ran out the door. See Gu Qingke running away. Yi Tianqiu didn't chase him either. She sat on the bed and looked at him with a gloomy face. Just one sentence. Just stand at the door now. Gu Qingke, who was about to go out, stopped. You run as long as you run out of this door. This marriage is void. Seeing the other party stopped, Yi Tianqiu then sneered and said, marry me anyway, just to extend your life together with me. Since you have no feelings for me, then why should I make things difficult for others? Gu Qingke, Wenyan, suddenly fell into a struggle. It's not okay to stand at the door and enter. Retreating is not an option. Although Yi Tianqiu is not the person he wants to marry, but he is the God Emperor. Blood is your best antidote. And since today's engagement party has started, that means you have accepted this marriage. Be prepared for a weekend break with him. Even though I say so, but Gu Qingqi was still very unwilling in his heart. To put it bluntly, he is too greedy, eating from the bowl and looking at the food from the pot. On the other hand, I want glory and wealth. At the same time, he also wants to grow old together with the person he likes. However, you can't have your cake and eat it too. At the same time, Gu Qingqi felt a little jealous in his heart this time. Source: why can he be with the person he likes? Yi Tianqiu saw Gu Qingqi standing at the door and not moving. I also understand what the other person is thinking at this time. I couldn't help but chuckle inwardly. The woman then said slowly to Miss Gu, have you thought it through? Go out or come back. Going out means regretting the marriage. Coming back means you want to be with me. If you come back, then let's continue to finish what we just didn't finish. Sometimes decisions only take a moment. Just in Yi Tian, after Su finished speaking, Gu Qingqi had already made a decision in his heart. After all, even if it's not for glory and wealth, just for my own life, Gu Qingqi didn't even have a choice. But what if he learns Yi Tianqiu's true identity later? By then, I don't know what kind of expression he would have on his face. Quite exciting. Made a decision in my heart. Gu Qingke did not hesitate any longer. He turned around and walked towards the big bed behind him. Although walking very slowly, every step is hesitant. But Gu Qingke still took one step at a time, walked towards the bed. I am constantly convincing myself in my heart. Although I had a crush on Yi Qinyuan before, but now all that's left is unwillingness. Probably after today, Yi Qinyuan is in his heart. It won't leave any ripples. Yi Tianqiu saw Gu Qingke turning around and walking towards him. There was a mocking smile on the corner of his mouth. There is no surprise at all about Gu Qingke's choice. After all, people like them. The education I received since childhood is to weigh interests first. Even if Gu Qingqi loves Yi Qinyue with all his heart. But at the end, he chose himself. As long as I am still Huang Chang's son. Then stretched out his hand. Gu Qingqi, who was still a few steps away from the bed, pulled over. And this time, Gu Qingqi did not refuse. Instead, he was pulled over by Yi Tianqiu very obediently. What follows is a restricted rated scene that is not suitable for children. In Gu Qingke and Yi Tianqiu, while having sex with fish and water, Yuan Chu and Yi Qinyuan have arrived at the palace. After going through the inspection at the door, came in smoothly. After walking in at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, a pair of cute big eyes looking around curiously. Although the imperial palace is not as fairy-like as the Immortal Gate, very spiritual, but it was also built with all kinds of rare treasures. When the two of them walked to the East Palace, the luxury of the East Palace was a bit unexpected even in the early Yuan dynasty. Not only is the decoration beautifully and luxuriously, even the murals in the hallway. They were all broken into pieces with colorful spiritual stones, piece by piece. Compared to other drawings, in the early Yuan dynasty, I was fascinated by the shiny murals on the wall. Like it very much. After all, his favorite thing is shiny things. Then he pulled the little apprentice next to him with excitement on his face. Then he pointed at the wall to make a small mistake. Look, the murals in this corridor are so beautiful. They were all broken into pieces with colorful spiritual stones, piece by piece. Colorful spiritual stones are so precious. This corridor is so long. What a generous move. Yi Qinyuan saw that his master liked him. Suddenly remembered, I seem to have gotten a bag of colorful spiritual stones before. Said with a smile, I think I also got a bag of colorful spiritual stones last time. If you like, just play with it. Yuan Shu didn't answer the call. His sight. I have been firmly attracted by the murals on the wall. What he likes is not the snack itself. After all, if you really want to do it, you can get it by yourself with a little effort. And the ingenious design is very novel. This is also what I like about Yuan Shu. Although he didn't speak in the early Yuan dynasty, but a worker behind them, I felt ashamed to hear Yi Qinyuan speak so arrogantly. The yin and yang taunted yo. This young man, what is your identity? There is actually a generation. This colorful spiritual stone is the heart of the spiritual stone. It is impossible to give birth without superior spiritual veins. Even this palace can only produce one per year. Yuan Shu was unhappy when he heard this. Who are you? A mere nobody? How dare dogs bark here? Then came forward. Then he asked Yi Qinyuan for the bag of colorful spiritual stones. Be prepared to let the guy in front of you know. What does it mean that there is a sky outside the sky? There is someone outside. Yi Qinyuan came here this time. I wanted to keep a low profile. Don't be too showy. But in the face of the master's demands, how can you refuse if you ask yourself? Then from his own space, took out a small bag, passed it to Yuan Shu. Yuan Shu took the bag, then opened it. The colorful light emitted by the colorful spiritual stones in the bag. Then it was revealed. This also attracted the attention of the guests who just came in. Looking at the colored light in the bag, I guessed it was a colorful spiritual stone. Everyone couldn't help but exclaimed. The envy in my eyes can't be stopped no matter what. The worker who made the taunt before, I saw that they really had colorful spiritual stones in the early Yuan dynasty. Also stunned, when I was about to say something to laugh with you. The original version of the little face, shaking the snack bag in his hand. Did you see clearly? Is this a colorful spiritual stone? Is it? Is it? Facing the original questioning, the worker's face turned even paler. The attitude is also more respectful. After all, I can take out the colorful spiritual stones. His status must be very noble. If you want your own life, can I still save my life? He quickly replied humbly, yes. But even so, in the early Yuan dynasty, I still felt uneasy. Snorted. Then we walked to the railing by the lake. In the eyes of everyone's confusion, he threw the bag of snacks directly into the lake. This move, everyone behind Yuan Shu was stunned. After all, I have seen prodigal people. I've never seen such a loser. Early Yuan dynasty. After completing such an arrogant behavior of throwing coins, then he took Yi Qinyuan and walked away proudly. And behind them, the previous group of people had become a mess. If you were of low status, jump down by yourself. And the noble ones. Then he quickly asked his servants to go down and fish it out. Because of the crowd at the scene, in eyes at this time, only the very precious, colorful spiritual stones in the lake. Even the instigator has run away without being discovered. After they walked for a while in the early Yuan dynasty, Yuan Shu then perceived. I checked to make sure there was no one around. Then he looked at his young apprentice Xiao Yuan. You said we would go in later. What will they do to us? After all, The previous one was just an episode. The highlight is yet to come. In generally this situation, naturally, it is better to separate the two people. Yi Qinyuan smiled and said nothing unexpected. They should separate us, then defeat them one by one. This will also reduce a lot of trouble. Hearing words from a distance, I immediately became worried. What should I do? After all, when it comes to conspiracy, naturally, I can't compare to these people who have been soaked in a big dye vat since childhood. Although Yi Qinyuan really wants the master to enter the Z beads. After all, the master won't be in danger like this. But since I promised the master, then you can't break your promise. But then Yi Qinyuan thought of something. Master Xiaodao, you can become small and stay in my arms. Just like last time on my birthday. Yuan Chu listened. My eyes suddenly lit up. I think this is also a good idea. The next second there was a bang. Become like a doll. Then it fell directly on Yi Qinyuan's shoulders. Lie down obediently. Yi Qinyuan looked at the little master on his shoulder. Very cute when small. I can't help but raise the corners of my mouth slightly. Everyone looks a lot happier. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, I suddenly remembered what happened just now. Thinking of the bag of colorful spiritual stones that I threw into the lake. I guess there aren't even any bags left now. My heart suddenly ached. Xiao Yuan said with some frustration. I was so angry just now. He did such a wasteful thing. Isn't it bad? It feels so bad to think about it now. Although I hit someone in the face. But it's my own pocket that I'm losing. Even if Yuan Chu becomes more prodigal, Yi Qinyuan won't blame him either. After all, she is my future wife. If you don't pamper yourself, who will pamper you? Then he reassured her that it was okay. Master you. Not a waste at all. It's okay even if you become a loser. I can afford it. Yi Qinyuan's heroic words are full of doting. I guess it was a member of the opposite sex who heard this. I guess I will be elated in the next second. I will pledge myself to you soon. After listening to it in the early Yuan dynasty. Although I don't feel like I want to commit myself right away. But I still feel happy. After all, whose apprentice can be so wealthy? So willful. I accepted Yi Qinyuan back then. It's definitely the best decision I've ever made in my life. And when the two of them met, that scene of shouting and killing was automatically ignored by Yuan Chu. After all, people have to look forward. Don't always care about previous episodes. Yi Qinyuan continues to move forward. Finally, we walked into a very beautiful hall. Everyone in the hall saw Yi Qinyuan, who had just walked in. Although the other party is plainly dressed, but handsome, outstanding temperament. It inevitably attracted everyone's attention. But then I saw that there was no one accompanying Yi Qinyuan behind him. One by one, they looked away. After all, I came alone, dressed so plainly. He doesn't look like a respectable person. The eyes of those who have nothing to do with it. Yi Qinyuan naturally didn't care at all. I looked at the number of people present. Open your mouth and say master. The engagement luncheon is about to begin. What Yi Qinyuan said. At the beginning of Yuan dynasty, I don't know if you heard it now. At this time his attention, already firmly attracted by the snacks on the table. Since the luncheon hasn't started yet. The food hasn't been served yet. But on the table beside, there are still plates of exquisite snacks on display. Look at that snack. I knew at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty that the taste would be the same. Wow, you are indeed the royal family's Ding Qingyan. The snacks all look delicious. Yi Qinyuan heard these words in the early Yuan dynasty. Turn around, seeing the other person's drooling look. I think it's a little funny, but we still got there. In front of the desk of a director. Reach out from the plate in front of you. I picked out a snack that the chef will like. Then he stuffed it into Yuan Chu's little hand that was held high. If it were based on the original body shape in the early Yuan dynasty, that little snack is probably only enough for one bite. But in the early Yuan dynasty, she was just like Thumbelina now. The snack was almost half as big as him. But being small also has its advantages. A snack that could only be eaten in one bite. Now Yuan Shu can eat several mouthfuls. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he ate with big mouthfuls. Don't forget to praise how delicious it is. Yuan, this is delicious. Such a delicious snack. In the early Yuan dynasty, naturally people would not only eat it once. Then he sat on Yi Qinyuan's shoulders. He began to command him to help him conquer the country. Pack it up, Xiao Yuan. This green snack looks good to me. And the pink one looks delicious too. Yi Qinyuan kept it while. At the same time, I also picked out some other snacks that looked good. Asked the master. In the early Yuan dynasty, he did not dislike these at all. I want a whole bag of them all. Yi Qinyuan saw the master eating so happily. Although I don't want the master to eat too much of other people's food. What if the master dislikes me later? But Yi Qinyuan couldn't refuse the original request. So he waved his hand, collected all the snacks. At the same time, I couldn't help but make a decision in my heart. After going back by myself, we must come up with more delicious snacks for the master to eat. But we can't let the master be raped by the charming bitch outside. Lost my mind. Yi Qinyuan's move was seen by the dignitaries around. There was a burst of disgust. Then he laughed even more. Where did this poor boy come from? He actually didn't even miss the snacks at the banquet. It's really embarrassing, yes. Where did this person come from? Never seen it before. Could it be that he came here to eat and drink? These words made Ben Zheng hold a large piece of snacks. The food is eating happily. After listening to this, my good mood disappeared instantly. Followed by a teleport. 2 snaps in the next second. 2 big mouths. Then he hit the 2 people who were talking about Zheng Huan on the face. Helped them wash their mouths. The 2 people who were beaten were stunned at first. Then he immediately became furious. After all, hitting someone is not a slap in the face. And the 2 of them are not good birds either. Who is a sneak attack, and no one admits it? They pointed the finger directly at Yi Qinyuan. It's you, right? After all, the guy in front of me has the biggest motive. They were talking about him just now. Faced with the accusations made by these 2, Yi Qinyuan is calm and relaxed, standing there with a calm face. He smiled and said that when you speak, you need evidence. If not, please don't slander others casually. So many people present, who saw me taking action. At this time, the real culprit was Yuan Shu, sitting on Yi Qinyuan's shoulders, smiling quietly. That's right, Xiao Yiye didn't take action. It was me who did it. I am such a good apprentice. It's your turn to have a casual chat here. Sure enough, cannon fodder is cannon fodder. Just need a lesson. There's a lot of noise here. He also successfully attracted the nearby guards. I saw the guard coming over. Those 2 people immediately complained. The guard looked like he had sneaked in. Not only did he steal the snacks at the banquet, I hit people, look at the slap marks on my face. This is the evidence that he beat someone. And this guard is only one-sided. After hearing what the 2 people said, did not ask Yi Qinyuan. Then he directly determined that Yi Qinyuan was the person in the downtown area. He said with a selfless face, "You disrupted the order of the party. You are not welcome here. Follow me, please. I want to take you out." At the beginning of Yuan dynasty, he saw that the other party had a selfless look on his face. But he didn't even ask himself. I made a decision directly. The mood that had just calmed down suddenly became agitated again. Got up and immediately followed. I have to step forward and give this guy some color. But Yi Qinyuan reached out and stopped him. Then he said hello with an uncharacteristic smile. I'm leaving now. In the early Yuan dynasty, I was very puzzled. What are you doing, little apprentice? Why should the angry sound transmission channel be left? We are obviously right. Compared with the anger at this time in the early Yuan dynasty, Yi Qinyuan saw something. He smiled and replied, Master, they're not trying to drive us away. But Yi Tian needs to find us. And even if it hadn't happened before, They will also think of other ways to take me away. Yuan Chu was stunned. These guards are Yi Tianchu's people. I have to say that in the early Yuan dynasty, I was really big-hearted. Coming to the engagement banquet this time is inherently dangerous. But fortunately, there is Master Yi Qin Yuan. Have you noticed? Their cultivation levels are all in the late stage of foundation building. And he doesn't look like an ordinary guard. It should be Yi Tianchu's Sijuan. Yuan Chu then sensed the guards in front of him. I couldn't help but get a little excited. So in the gloating eyes of the two people before, Yi Qin Yuan was taken away by the guards. Walked out of the hall. Yi Qin Yuan discovered that the route taken by the guards had changed. Not the way out, but he sees through it without saying anything. Follow behind quietly. Tease it from time to time. The little master in me. And when the guards led Yi Qin Yuan, when walking into a courtyard, Yi Qin Yuan's expression has changed somewhat. He found that the entire courtyard was shrouded in a formation, and my Z bead suddenly couldn't be opened. It seems that this formation has the function of blocking mess in space. Yi Tianchu is really determined to win this time. He actually made such a big move. In the early Yuan dynasty, these side businesses such as alchemy were, I'm not interested in anything, and I don't have the patience to learn this either. So naturally, can't feel anything. But while walking along the way, the scene along the way made Yuan Chu feel a little sour. Said to Yi Qin Yuan that the counterfeit is really shameless. Stealing your identity. Not to mention robbing the Eastern Palace that your father left behind. Now I want to steal your blood. Want your life. How can he be so shameless? Yi Qin Yuan heard that in the early Yuan dynasty, he felt unfair for himself. Feeling warm in my heart. Although he is not very interested in these external things. After all, what I have saved in the Z beads. It's enough to last him a lifetime. But he still cherishes it. The person who fought for him. He stretched out a finger and rubbed Yuan Chu's little face. Chuanin said, "Don't be angry. If you like this place, I'll snatch him up and give him to you when the time comes." The first time I heard it in the early Yuan dynasty, I suddenly felt energetic. In Yi Qin Yuan's arms, he jumped up and down excitedly. Okay. Don't leave anything to that imposter. Let him go back to his place. That cheerful little expression in the early Yuan dynasty. Yi Qin Yuan was in a particularly good mood after seeing it. On the other side, after Yi Tianchu was done with Gu Qinka, like a scumbag, he waved his hand and asked Gu Qinka to go out first. And I discuss it with others. How to deal with Yi Qin Yuan next. You remember everything I told you. Other people in the room at this time. Everyone has gone out to perform their duties. Yi Tianchu said to the last person. The man followed closely behind. He bent down to salute and said, "My subordinates have remembered it. Take a closer look. Isn't this the same time I was with Su Hiyue before?" Li Xuanji was expelled from the college. Unexpectedly, after he was expelled from the college, he actually took refuge with Yi Tianchu. Yi Tianchu saw this, gnawed with satisfaction. Then he laughed. His eyes are like poisonous snakes. It just so happens that you also like Gu Qinka. As long as his reputation is ruined, he cares about his family and will definitely accept you. Although you are not of the blood of the God Emperor. But as long as you get this done, after His Highness, I can find you a God Emperor bloodline to exchange for blood. By then, you will definitely become the quick son-in-law of the Gu family. Have to say, want others to do things for you. Sweetness still has to be given. As for Li Xuanji, who is Gu Qinka's licking dog, nothing excites him more than this. Although Li Xuanji will be extremely excited, but he still hesitated and asked whether His Highness meant what he said. Yi Tianchu heard the hesitation in the other party's mouth. Not angry. Instead, he is giving the other party a reassurance. Of course it's true. His Highness has found one. A person with the blood of the God Emperor. Although the power of blood is somewhat weak, but it is the genuine blood of the God Emperor. just right for you. By then, you will definitely become the Gu family's son-in-law. As expected, I always choose words that sound nice. Discuss the dangers of blood transfusion. Yi Tianxiu would not tell Li Xuanji stupidly. After getting Yi Tianxiu's guarantee, Li Xuanji seemed even more excited. All this was seen by Yi Tianxiu. Then he continued with a smile and said, "You just need to look like Yi Qinyuan later. Go find Gu Qingke. He will never reject you. Wait until you rape him before making things bigger. His Highness will send someone to end it at the appropriate time. I will never let the Gu family hurt you. Then His Highness will break off the engagement. You come to ask for marriage again when the Gu family is in the turmoil? The Gu family will fulfill your sincerity." Li Xuanji became more and more excited the more he listened. Already imagined in my mind a better future for myself. Next second, he directly picked up the magic weapon Yi Tianxiu gave him, just like the original Chiba mask. Put it on your face. Then, transformed, became like Yi Qinyuan. Except that face it feels weird. There's almost no difference. Li Xuanji, who turned into Yi Qinyuan, knelt forward immediately. Started to show loyalty. "Please rest assured, Your Highness. The subordinates will definitely complete the task. When the time comes, my subordinate will become the Gu family's son-in-law. I will never forget His Highness's kindness. I'm so sorry for His Highness. Never give up." Although Yi Tianxiu knew, the person kneeling in front of him is Li Xuanji. But the other party now looks like Yi Qinyuan. See him kneeling in front of you. A trace of joy inevitably flashed through my heart. "Go ahead. Your Highness is waiting for your good news." Li Xuanji listened. He turned around and left. Yi Tianxiu looked at Li Xuanji's back. Became thoughtful. If Gu Qingke's heart belongs to him, for the sake of the Gu family behind him, maybe I can still marry her. But now a woman whose heart is not with herself. What is the use of marrying yourself? It's almost enough to play. Anyway, wait until Li Xuanji marries Gu Qingke. I can still hold the Gu family firmly in my hands. Why bother to go there in person? And the most important thing is, Yi Tianxiu expressed his reaction to this exchange of blood. Not very sure. Although today we have to catch Yi Qinyuan to complete the sacrifice. But whether it can succeed or not is still unknown. Even if it succeeds, who knows the blood that was exchanged? Will the other party notice it? To be on the safe side, it would be best to push Gu Qingke out, so as not to cause trouble when the time comes. As long as the plan goes well. After today, everyone will know that Yi Qinyuan robbed Gu Qingke. Even if Yi Qinyuan is dead by then, the First Academy probably has nothing to say. Such a perfect plan. Yi Tianxiu feels that he will not fail. Thinking of this, he felt much happier. The corners of the mouth can't help but rise slightly. The next step to do at this time is to catch Yi Qinyuan. In order to prevent the other party from running away, Yi Tianxiu even sent a group of men who were all in the Jindan stage. Go down and catch Yi Qinyuan. The leader is still the late Jindan stage. But what he doesn't know is, Yi Qinyuan goes back. When I came back, I had already reached the initial level of cultivation. So, everything is accidents. No matter how perfect your plan is, it will still fail. When Yi Tianxiu was imagining, when planning the wonderful scene after success, Yi Qinyuan sighed, looking at the group of people who suddenly appeared in front of me. I can't help but sigh in my heart. In order to catch himself, Yi Tianxiu, you really put a lot of effort into it. This group of people in front of me, actually, none of them are lower than the golden elixir stage. There is even one that is in the late stage of Jindan. In the early Yuan dynasty, I would be in Yi Qinyuan's arms. It's not a big deal to dress up and watch the excitement. Waving his little fists very excitedly. Beat them up when they are wronged. Knock them all down. Yi Qinyuan saw his master so excited. He smiled helplessly. Later, the master of Chuan Yin Dao. Calm down and don't forget. We're just here to get evidence this time. And as long as Yi Tianchu's identity is revealed, the anger of the Sumu and Mu families, you can directly burn the queen behind him. Go to the Zhao family. When the time comes, we just need to sit back and watch the tigers fight. This passage from Yi Qinyuan, although I knew every word in the early Yuan dynasty, but when you put it together, it suddenly feels quite brain-burning. Just don't care anymore. After all, my little apprentice is so smart and wise. Be filial to yourself. Why waste your brain cells here? Why is it so complicated? Oops, never mind. Anyway, little Yuan Yang, I believe in you. Just make your own decision. I'm here, so I won't disturb you. It can be said that, at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, I still felt a little unwilling. So shall we surrender? No, I'm not willing to give in. I don't know how much fun it will take away from this. Yi Qinyuan listened to the soft words in the early Yuan dynasty. A little depressed voice. If things weren't right now, he is really. I want to hold the master in my hands and give him a good kiss. Warmly soothing voice. Master, don't worry. Wait until we get the evidence. You can make any fuss you want. The dean will take care of the aftermath. Yi Qinyuan said while saying, the spiritual energy in one hand condensed. Get ready to have fun with these guys in front of you. The first time I heard it in the early Yuan dynasty, but I was still feeling a little depressed. Suddenly disappeared without a trace. He said seriously with an excited face. Yi Qinyuan responded lovingly, yes. I won't lie to you. After getting the promise from my little apprentice, at the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, I felt that I could endure it any longer, staying in Yi Qinyuan's arms with great interest. Good Lord, Xiao Yuan, hurry up and fake a fight with them. I want to see after Yi Qinyuan finished speaking in the early Yuan dynasty. Then he also rushed forward, got into a fight with that group of people, with his cultivation, except for the difficulty in the later stage of the golden elixir. Everyone else was knocked down with one hand. So Yi Qinyuan suppressed his own cultivation. I make some small mistakes from time to time. It seems very difficult to resist, but you can't let them knock you down quickly. Otherwise, you will fall down too fast. That would seem too fake. After Gu Qingqi came out, face a little pale, but the face did not change from the girl. The joy of becoming a woman. Instead, I feel sick in my heart. After all, Yi Tianchu hasn't inspired his blood yet. Not helpful to myself. And his previous actions were very brutal and rough. Like a beast. It seems like it's just a vent. Have to say, the recovery ability of the body of a cultivator is strong. Even if Yi Tianchu treated Gu Qingqi like that before. However, Gu Qingqi came out for a while. My body has almost recovered. Even if Gu Qingqi paid such a heavy price. He still hasn't learned from Yi Tianchu. What exactly is the plan this time? And, because I wasn't there before, Yi Qinyuan and others are still here at this time? Don't even know. But it's almost time for the banquet to start. Gu Qingqi can't care about anything else at this moment. He ran towards the banquet in a hurry. After all, the emperor's eldest grandson is coming soon. And as the hostess of the banquet, definitely can't be absent. Gu Qingqi hasn't taken a few steps forward yet. There was a person in front of him blocking his way. And this person, he just came out of Yi Tianchu's room before. Li Xuanji, who turned into Yi Qinyuan. Li Xuanji was wearing white clothes at this time. Gentle eyes, looking at Gu Qingqi with a hint of evil in his smile. When Gu Qingqi saw Yi Qinyuan in front of him, he looked like this. I couldn't help but look at him with wide eyes. Brother Qinyuan. Li Xuanji was also very nervous this time, trying hard to imitate Yi Qinyuan's tone, and smile for fear of being exposed. Seeing that Gu Qingqi didn't find any flaws, he smiled and said, "Can you talk to me for a few words?" Gu Qingqi just looked at each other and hummed. "Don't you want to come to me yet?" although Yi Qinyuan treated him so much before. And I have already let go of him in my heart. Now we should bypass him and rush back to the banquet. But after all, the other person is the person whom I have had a crush on. If the other party gets lost at this time and comes back to find you, if you are ready to find yourself again, maybe I can give him a few words of advice. Don't be too embarrassed to ask him to wait. But he has no idea who will be embarrassed later. Thinking of this, Gu Qingke couldn't help but feel proud. Because he knows Yi Tianshu too well. Either the other party will not take action. Once you take action, you will regret coming into this world. Yi Qinyuan wants his own future results. If it's not too miserable, it depends on his current performance. Immediately afterwards, Gu Qingke showed a gentle smile, Brother Qinyuan. The luncheon is about to start now. I am the hostess. We have to rush there now. But since you ask, I can still squeeze out some time to walk with you. Gu Qingke finished speaking. I looked at 4 weeks and there are still workers. Then he led Li Xuanji. Came to a small courtyard with no one around. Li Xuanji didn't expect to succeed so easily. The excitement is mixed with some sadness. But I still followed him like crazy. Come to the small courtyard. Gu Qingke first looked at 4 weeks. After confirming no one for 4 weeks, turned around and smiled and said, okay. Brother Qinyuan, if you have anything to say, just say it here. How could Li Xuanji care about talking at this time? Take a step forward. Ho anxiously pressed Gu Qingqi onto the pillar. In the other party's disbelieving eyes, Li Xuanji began to pretend to confess. Highland barley sister, I regret. You are 1,000 times better than that wooden barley. Don't marry Huang Chang's son. I'm going to marry you, I'm talking about it. My hands started to become restless. Gu Qingke is now shocked and angry. He didn't expect that the other party would act like this as soon as he came up. And this is different from Yi Qinyuan in his impression. It's like a world apart. Yi Qinyuan, in my own memory, you would never do such a thing. Subconsciously pushed forward. Then he angrily scolded Brother Qinyuan. What are you doing? Li Xuanji didn't care at all when he heard Gu Qingqi's angry rebuke. After all, his cultivation level is higher than that of the other party. Not afraid of resistance from the other party at all. What to do with a sneer? Of course I will turn you into my woman. This way you won't marry anyone else. Holland Barley, I'm happy with you. Li Xuanji became even more presumptuous as he spoke. The next second, he pounced towards Gu Qingke again. This time Li Xuanji increased his strength. This made Gu Qingke unable to get rid of his mental illness for a while. The beast threatened Brother Qinyuan. If you don't let go, I just called someone. Faced with this unstoppable threat, Li Xuanji, without fear. After all, Emperor Chang's son promised. Before you finish, no one will come close. Even if he breaks his throat now, no one will come. Then Li Xian's movements became even more urgent. That looks like a wolf and a tiger. Successfully made Gu Qingke feel scared. After all, if you are indoors, if the other party is Yi Qinyuan, even if you only half promise, you will agree. But this is outdoors. Gu Qingke is not mentally prepared yet. He said anxiously and shyly, Brother Qinyuan, don't do this. We'll be seen. Please. Gu Qingqi acted like he did when he was forced by Yi Tianshu before. Start struggling hard? But I don't know why. He didn't even yell. That look of rendering jade. It makes Li Xuanji want to be in front of him even more. This goddess that I miss so much. At the same time, I secretly thought that what I wanted was to be seen. Otherwise, how could the emperor's eldest grandson break off the engagement? After Gu Qingqi struggled to no avail, there was a hint of begging for mercy in his tone. Brother Qinyuan, you let me go. It's really not possible. After leaving the East Palace, we were at. Gu Qingqi was talking and talking. Started to compromise. Li Xuanji was already frightened. Both eyes couldn't help but turn slightly red. No, you are too beautiful. I want you now. Everyone is at the party now. They won't find out. Give me Highland barley, Li Xuanji said. His movements began to become more and more brutal and rough. Gu Jinka didn't know it was because of the other party's words. Or is it because of the other person's face? It could be both. There was actually a trace of desire. The power of drama promotion is gradually weakening. Look at the house to the side, she shyly said. How about we go to the house? I'm scared outside. Li Xian saw that the other party finally stopped resisting. Overjoyed, he quickly picked up Princess Gu Jinka. Just go inside. Followed closely by another period of time. Sexually pornographic scenes. But the heroine hasn't changed this time. But the male protagonist has changed. When Gu Jinka was humming and ha-ha, Yi Qinyuan has already relied on his super-perfect acting skills. Let yourself be fucked by these rotten sweet potatoes across from you. The stinky bird's eggs were successfully knocked down. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he saw his young apprentice's perfect acting skills. I can't help but praise that Xiao Yuanyuan's performance is really great. In the end, he fell to the ground quite naturally. After all, it's not that easy to fight fake matches. That group of people are also very technical. Looking at Yi Qinyuan, who fell to the ground, I couldn't help but lament that I didn't expect this kid to be quite difficult to deal with. There are so many people here. He actually didn't capture him right away. Yi Qinyuan seemed to have fainted on the surface, but in fact he was communicating with Yuan Shu in the Stone Sea. Master, later Yi Tianxu will definitely exchange blood with me directly, because the secret realm of Excalibur is about to open. He has no patience anymore. When the time comes, please, Master, please bear with me a little longer. You just have to watch from the sidelines. Don't take action yet. The destructive Yingzi in his heart at this time in the early Yuan dynasty. Already ready to move. My hands are itchy. But to do something later. He decided to endure it first. Acting very well behaved. Nod your head again and again. I listen to you in everything. Then by a pool full of blood, Yi Tianxu, who has been waiting for a long time, already a little irritable at this time. Why are these losers so slow? Catch Yi Qinyuan, who is only in the golden core stage. Why is it taking so long? Just when he was about to send someone to check out the situation. At this time, the people under his command came forward to report to His Highness. Someone got caught. Yi Tianxu heard this, unable to help but eagerly turned around and walked towards Yi Qinyuan. Looking at Yi Qinyuan, who was lying on the ground in a coma, Yi Tianxu couldn't help but sneered. I thought you were so awesome. I didn't expect it to be like this. Just pay out. Danchi then caught you. It seems that Mr. Zhao died last time. It must be because the dean discovered it. The old lady Zhao was worried to death because of the loss. Let me not act rashly. Just when Yi Tianxu was feeling proud. Don't know what's in the corner. The little Yuan Shu is hiding behind a stone, holding a big, suing bead in her arms. Smiles so much, not to mention how cunning it is. And in the early Yuan dynasty, the current cultivation level has reached the out-of-body stage. Unless there is someone present who has a higher level of cultivation than him. Otherwise, it would be impossible to discover him. The strongest fighting force around Yi Tianxu. It's probably that Mr. Zhao. So the beginning of the Yuan dynasty is here now. Not only can you peek openly, you can also record videos by the way. Looking at Yi Tianxu's ugly face in front of him. At the beginning of Yuan dynasty, I really wanted to come forward. Now, give him 2 big pussy pockets. But in order to collect evidence. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he still restrained his little hand that was ready to move. Let him be rampant for a few more minutes. After Yi Tianxu mocked Yi Qinyuan for a few words. No more nonsense. He quickly walked towards the altar in the lake. Yi Qinyuan let the servants behind him support him. You can't drag it away, right? In case it gets towed. That means the gains really outweigh the losses. Yuan Chu followed closely behind. Then I saw the bloody lake. As soon as I got close to the strong smell of blood that enveloped my nose, and the deep resentment in it. At the beginning of the Yuan dynasty, he immediately recognized that this must be human blood. Although he knew that Yi Tianxiu was ruthless, I didn't expect him to be so heartbroken. Could this be the product of failed blood transfusion? Such a big pot. How many people's blood is needed? After Yuan Chu took a breath of air conditioning, then he used the Suiying Pearl to paint the scene in front of him. It was completely recorded. Just like that. It's enough for Yi Tianxiu to drink a pot, let alone being able to. The shocking explosion. At this time, the altar on the island. A young man in yellow is standing. Looks like he's been here for a while. After Yi Tianxiu came to the island, see this person. Can't help but be stunned for a moment. This young man is Yi Tianxiu's nominal cousin. When she saw Yi Tianxiu coming to the island, I couldn't help but curiously asked, "Do we need blood transfusion now?" All the elders in Yi Wenqi's lineage are in collusion with the Zhao family. So Yi Tianxiu has no secrets in front of them. This also made Yi Tianxiu's attitude toward Yi Wenqi very good. After all, in front of people who know his identity, he's just a pawn with no status. Unless you wait until you really reach that position. Yi Tianxiu's superficial skills at this time. Still doing well. Nodded. Without further ado. Now that I've caught it. Naturally, the earlier the blood transfusion is performed, the better. To avoid long nights and too many dreams. And Yi Wenqi appeared at the altar this time. This is not something to do for free, but with a mission, just to supervise Yi Tianxiu's blood transfusion on behalf of his elders. But because Yi Wenqi was still young at this time, hearing Yi Tianxiu say this, curiously, he stepped forward and looked at Yi Qinyuan. Look at this man with the blood of the God Emperor. What's so special about it? But look around. The other person is almost like a normal person. Nothing special. Raise your head. He said leisurely that, to be honest, I have never seen the bloodline of the God Emperor. This is nothing special. But it is said that only people with this kind of God Emperor bloodline, only then can I see the divine sword. I don't know if it's true. Yi Tianxiu heard this. The expression on his face changed slightly, but he soon changed back. He gritted his teeth and smiled and said, "Wait until I get his blood. Then all opportunities will be mine." Yi Qingyuan, who had his eyes closed on the side, heard this. I think the time is almost here. Then he opened his eyes drowsily. Then he looked up and saw Yi Tianxiu. There was also a very puzzled expression on his face. "Emperor Chang's son, why did you arrest me?" Seeing Yi Qinyuan wake up, Yi Tianxiu panicked at first. How did he wake up so quickly? But then he quickly calmed down. Sneered, "Why?" "Because you stole my woman. Can't I kill you?" Yi Tianxiu said while saying, "Tie a chain on one side. Lock Yi Qinyuan firmly, to prevent the other party from running away." Yi Qinyuan saw Yi Tianxiu say this. I was a little confused for a while, but soon I guessed something. Ask your woman tentatively. "Are you trying to frame me?" Pushed Gu Qinka out. Yi Tianxiu didn't expect. Yi Qinyuan actually guessed the truth so quickly. Feeling a little nervous. Then I thought that this place was full of problems. You don't have to be afraid of anything at all. I instantly felt confident. So what if I frame you? Calculate the time. People outside now. Almost everyone already knows. You raped Gu Qinka? But don't worry. You can't see that day, because you're going to die here soon. And after Yi Tianxiu finished speaking, Yi Qinyuan's face. Not what he imagined. Panicked look. On the contrary, he was very calm. Then what is your real purpose in wanting to kill me? Even if you die, it's time for me to be a sensible person, right? We've all reached the final step, which is approaching. Yi Tianxiu no longer hides anything. I have said everything that should be said and what should not be said, because in his eyes, Yi Qinyuan is already a dead man. Only you die. Only then can I feel at ease. You're gonna die anyway. Just give me your blood. It makes your death somewhat worthwhile. Yi Tianxu said. At the same time, he held the magic formula in his hand. The next second, Yi Qinyuan felt, your body is not under your control. The whole person is suspended in midair. But even so, Yi Qinyuan is still very calm. Step by step, tell me what you want to know. Take it sentence by sentence from Yi Tianxu's mouth. What do you want my blood for? Is your god emperor's blood fake? Yi Qinyuan's words are like a sharp sword, straight into Yi Tianxu's heart. He looks crazy, he said through gritted teeth. Damn it, if I hadn't used your blood in the first place, I won't be so passive now. Let me tell you the truth. You are the emperor's eldest grandson, and I'm just the child of your father's guard. It doesn't matter even if you know the truth now. After today, I will be of true royal blood. No one can question me anymore. Yi Tianxu thought he had told the truth. You can see the surprise on Yi Qinyuan's face. Angry expression. But the fact is that he thought too much. Yi Qinyuan's face is still calm, even with a faint smile. So you take my place. Got everything from me. Now you want to kill me. Aren't you afraid to wait for the prince to come back? It's your death day. Yi Tianxu didn't expect. At this time, Yi Qinyuan actually threatened himself. See the smile on the other person's face. Yi Tianxu only felt that the uneasiness in his heart was getting heavier and heavier. The eyes are full of what to be afraid of? As long as I have the power. As long as I become emperor. Even if he comes back, I can kill him too. Humph. Why am I talking so much nonsense to you? I don't know why. Yi Tianxu felt that the more he told Yi Qinyuan, the uneasiness in my heart became more and more intense. There will be no more nonsense in the next second. With a wave of his hand, he was ready to open the blood stain directly. After all, he's done it here. I still have to go to Gu Chinka's place to host the rape hunt. As long as everything goes smoothly, then even if Yi Qinyuan dies, no one from the First Academy could say anything. Have to say, Yi Tianxu thought really well, and Yi Tianxu's uneasiness actually has its origin. After all, there is someone watching you in the dark. Do you feel uneasy? Compared with Yi Tianxu's uneasiness, Jen watching the show from the sidelines. The more I listen to it, the more excited I become. He said. This faker finally told the truth. Other side. The way Gu Chinka and Li Xuanji see each other. It's all the way you like it. So when you enter the room, it immediately started a fire. Just when they are investing. I didn't even notice that someone had already walked in outside the door. The maid opening the door. Seeing this exciting scene in front of me. Subconsciously, I screamed. This sudden interruption. It immediately brought the two people present back to their senses. The sword was found. Gu Qingqi suddenly panicked. At this moment, there is only one sentence in my mind. I'm done for. Didn't even notice anyone coming. Why didn't I notice it? Next second, he angrily pushed Li Xuanji away from him. Someone is coming. Why don't you say? What Gu Qingqi didn't expect was that. What he was waiting for was not the answer from the other party, but a big dick. When a man is interrupted by something like that, naturally, there is a fire. To vent it somewhere else, Li Xuanji is no exception. I've been on fire since the beginning. At this time, he was pushed again by Gu Chinka. Natural anger rising. I let it out without thinking. After a slap in the face, he gritted his teeth and said, "You are not a beast." Without waiting for Gu Chinka to explain something, suddenly a large group of people came out of the door. These people are the guests at this engagement banquet, because neither of the two protagonists arrived at the engagement party. Everyone present was impatient to wait, and the palace maid from before ran to the banquet. Something happened to Miss Gu. Suddenly, everyone's gossip was ignited. The Gu family heard this. Naturally, it is as expected, bearing the brunt of the rush. However, when I saw this scene in the house, chi and blood suddenly surged up, almost fainted. Others followed, closely behind. After all, if you don't eat the free melon, you won't get it. Gu Qingqi saw so many people at the door. Subconsciously, I picked up my clothes and wrapped them around my body before running away. But just got up. Li Xuanji killed Gu Qingqi in one fell swoop. Pulled into his arms. A hand hugged his waist tightly. The other hand is stroking the other person's long hair. Sneered and said, "Why are you running? Our work is not done yet. As long as someone sees it, you can only marry me." Just when Li Xuanji wanted to do something more, suddenly a bombardment hit him directly in the chest. He couldn't help but spurt out a mouthful of blood. And Gu Qingqi also took advantage of the opportunity. Ran out of his arms. At this time, among the Gu family members at the door, Mother Gu was the first to recover. Saw this bastard. He wants to touch his own daughter. He blasted him with one direct attack. But looking at Li Xuanji, I can't wait to peel off each other's skin and cramps, eat its flesh and drink its blood. And Gu Qingqi, who ran out. At this time, the last fantasy in his heart about Yi Qinyuan. It's been broken into pieces. Not even the dregs are left. Threw himself into his mother's arms, crying for mother with a look of grievance. He raped me. At this time, other people in the Gu family outside the door. Almost everyone has rushed in. See this scene? All are furious. Don't even think about coming forward. I'm gonna blow this guy to ashes. Li Xuanji looked at the Gu family. Looks like he wants to eat himself. No panic at all. After all, the emperor's grandson promised. I will never let anything happen to me. Get up from the bed quickly. The wave of attacks that I dodged. Then he picked up a piece of clothing and put it on. He said to you with an evil smile, "What are we going to do? Now I sleep with him. So many people have seen it. Who else would marry him but me? Are you sure you want to kill your son-in-law with your own hands?" Li Xuanji's shamelessness. It already made everyone present so sick that they wanted to vomit. It's even more illegal. Some people can't stand it. I want to go up with the Gu family and kill him. Someone among the onlookers recognized Yi Qinyuan, covering his mouth and screaming in shock. A look of disbelief. "Oh, isn't this Yi Qinyuan from the First Academy?" It is said that he was favored by the dean because of his high cultivation level. Want to receive the Golden Eagle Pavilion? As soon as these words came out, everyone present showed expressions of disdain.